Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and this is my Go Slip Day vlog. I want to start off by apologizing to anybody who didn't make it to my live. A lot of people were really mad. So last time when I went live, it was like an impromptu kind of a thing where I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to get a video out this week again. And it would have been 2 weeks in. So I was like, no, you're just going to go live. And so I went live. It went amazing. And next time I'll try to plan it out further. That way people are aware when it's going to happen. And I definitely want to apologize to everybody in Minnesota because I did it on a Thursday night at like 10 o'clock. So, I'm up pretty late in general. And then I get up really early as well just because I don't have time. So it was like 10 o'clock on a Thursday night, and I'm sure a lot of you guys had to go to work the next day, so I do apologize for all my Minnesota viewers. So next time, for those in Central Time, I'll try to do it earlier, because a lot of people from California were on, because it was only like 8 o'clock for them. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be talking a bit about dragons and their spouses. I was asked about that when I was going live, and people had some questions about that. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail, and then we're going to talk about people who cry around shamans, especially if they're asking for some type of service and then they just start crying. And then towards the end, we're going to talk about why do shamans get attacked if they have guides. So let's go ahead and get started. So as far as dragons and spouses, so I had mentioned to you guys when I went live in my past video, dragons can have multiple wives or husbands. And this applies to men and women dragons. So it depends on what level you are as a dragon as well. The higher up you are, you tend not to have multiple wives or husbands. Whereas if you're medium or if you're lower level types of dragons, you will have multiple wives or husbands. And it's perfectly fine if the dragons choose to have multiple, etc. spouses. Now, people were really curious about those dragons who take on human spouses, because that's really common as well, where dragons may try to kill a human and take them as their spouse. And dragons, they are allowed to, because it is actually a blessing for a dragon to choose you, especially if you're a human and you're not even a dragon. Now, I am just going to let you guys know, though, dragons tend to always take humans who actually have, it's going to sound terrible if I say this, but it means value. I'm hearing value. So they tend to take humans who have value. It's basically this human, whoever you are, you actually are something else in the spirit world, or you have something else, like some kind of ability or something, and that is what actually attracts them. Dragons, as you may or may not know, they like to collect things. Okay, so I know it sounds terrible, but they like shiny things. They like brand new things, rare things. So they will, especially if they come across a human, they could take them as a wife or a husband. Now, there's a lot that goes into that, okay? There's like a lot, because it depends the person who they took, if they already have a spouse in the spirit world. People were asking, are they mistreated, the humans who are taken? And typically it depends if you are not the first spouse. So if you're not the first husband or wife, then you will always have another dragon above you. It's kind of like a hierarchy. So you would never lash out or go against the one above you. And they're not like, the thing is, like with dragons who do have existing spouses who are also dragons, you're not like important to them. I know this sounds like really terrible as I'm saying it, but it's kind of like, it's just an acceptance that this is just the culture of dragons. You can have multiple lovers. You can have multiple spouses. And it doesn't mean anything. What's going to matter, especially if you're a human. And the thing is, you're not mistreated because a dragon chose you. But you are not like above the other original spouses of your spouse. You know what I'm saying? And for a human, let's say you're just Joe off the corner of the street, okay? And you get taken by a female dragon. The children that you give, or the children that you have, if you're a woman, will actually raise you in ranks. And that's how you can actually raise yourself if you end up becoming a spouse. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you guys are going to get taken by a dragon. It's just, that is the culture. That is the traditions and what they do. And they don't live together. So like, if you get, okay, not you, but if somebody was taken by a dragon, you would have your own lair, your own world, and you have actual dragons who serve you because you are the spouse of this dragon. Now, if you are a lower level dragon though, it's just not as glamorous, and you may become the servant of another dragon, even though you are married, because it's a lower level kind of a deal. So, but you aren't like, it's not like you're bullied, or anything like that, because again, you're a human who was chosen by a dragon. So you have some kind of value because you're seen as valuable. You're just gonna not be as powerful per se. That's all. Now, I actually have a little story to share with you guys. So when I was not born yet as a human, I actually have my memories, and I remember dragons will come to me about their own issues too. It's just like how I mentioned about how gods have disciples. They will go to their gods about their issues. So I remember in particular, I had a woman, and she had just came as a new wife to a dragon. It was actually one of my generals. Anyways, she had just came, and she was telling me that, she respects dragons and all that stuff. And I think it was really hard for her because she wanted to die, basically. And it wasn't because of, she didn't want to become a dragon or anything like that, or have children who were a dragon, but she was actually already in love with somebody else, and she got taken by this dragon, and it's supposed to be seen as this blessing from heaven. And so she just laid it out because she wanted me to kill her for saying these things and for going against the will of the heavens, that this is a blessing. Now, what ended up happening though was I actually sent her back, because typically what happens if you want to die in the spirit world and you are already, a deity of some kind, you're a spirit of some kind, when you are reborn, you are born in a lower class than the one you're originally born with, because again, you're going against the will. So we will knock you back even further so that you have to work your way up higher again to re-earn your previous level. So I actually just sent her back though. And the reason why I did this, it was because I knew that the person she was in love with was not in love with her. And because a dragon sent you back, that is one of the worst things. I mean, you're better off being dead, basically. Okay. So I purposely sent her back, and she went back. She tried to be with this other person, and they knew that dragons had turned their back on her, had sent her back. And so she ended up staying where she is. And to this day, she is still at the same level she is. She is not married. Nobody will ever marry her. And I guess in hindsight, this is a terrible story. Why did I share this story? Okay. Well, that's just kind of it. I'm trying to just let you guys know that a lot of people, especially like humans, like if you have a sibling, if you had a child who was taken by a dragon, a lot of people are very upset about that, and they don't see it as a blessing in disguise, that your child or your sibling may have not achieved this or that, but by having the dragon take them, they will achieve so much more. But I also understand people have this human attachment. But when you actually get reborn, you will come across this sibling, this child, whoever had passed on by a dragon, and you guys won't have that same kind of relationship anymore, because there is the spiritual side of it, where even though in this plane of existence, in this lifetime, you guys have so-and-so relationship, that's not how it is in the spirit world. So this is just a little bit of reprieve, hopefully, for you guys to understand that it is a blessing. And I actually had another viewer contact me a long time ago about it actually happened to her sister, and she had dreamt of it happening before it actually happened. And I remember it's terrible, because when people talk to me, I see things, and I will so I really don't like it when somebody just has somebody who just passed away, because I will automatically see them and they will come to me, and I really don't like that, because they don't really leave you alone for a while. Anyways, her sister had a great life, and she wasn't as happy, but just because you are taken by somebody, you're not going to be like in love. You're not going to be as super happy. But, in these kind of situations, it's not really about emotional value. And I understand for some people that's very important to them, but that is the reality of how it is in the spirit world. It's very business transactions, no nonsense kind of a thing, where if something of a higher being wants to take you, they will. And there's only so many things that could actually stop that. Typically, negotiations of some kind, you have to find a fault in what is happening and some kind of tie. If you can't, then again, it's like you're going against the will of heaven, because that is a blessing. It should be seen as a blessing. And a lot of people don't see it that way. And I can understand that. So even though that story I told you guys about that girl came to me and she was married to one of my generals, it's like knowing who I was. And the thing is, the whole time, I didn't even see anything wrong with this story of exactly what I did and everything. It was all because you have to remember, dragons can see a lot further than people are aware. And so it's like this, and the thing is, I knew what this person really felt, and I let them have what they wanted. But this person knew as well, being sent back, but they wanted to die, and but you don't always get what you wish for, okay? So it's, from that story, you might think I was really heartless, but in reality, that is the deal. So we're gonna move on. All right. So this next part is going to be about crying when you go and get services done for you by a shaman, anybody who is spiritually inclined, basically. If you ever go to anybody for services for whatever reason, and they don't have to be like a full-fledged type of shaman or anything like that, you just have a spiritual connection and you need assistance of some kind. And what ends up happening is sometimes people will cry. So I had mentioned in my previous videos about people who yawn a lot or they get really tired around shamans. Those who end up crying, it's because that individual has touched your soul. So that is actually what they mean when they say like, oh, your soul was touched, etc. What happens is you're feeling it as they're doing it. And that is what they refer to as your soul being touched, because they did touch your soul. They're healing you. They are doing something and they're connecting, and you connected and you are feeling it. Even if you yourself don't fully understand what's happening, a lot of people don't even know why they're crying. And I've done a lot of ceremonies where people cry at my ceremonies. And it's just because they're feeling it, and they could be fighting it. Because I had somebody who didn't believe it as I was doing the ceremony. And I have no problem with somebody not believing in what I'm doing. It's like, but they still came and asked, even though they didn't believe it. In their core, they didn't believe it. But it's like that individual, when I did the ceremony, they were going to start crying. And they couldn't rationalize, why am I about to cry? There's like a million people around me right now, and everything is loud, and everything's like dirty, and it's crazy. Why am I about to start crying? Like, people just don't understand that. It's because your soul is being touched and you're feeling it. So that can happen. So be prepared, and don't be like ashamed or anything like that if you're not sure why you're crying. It's only because your soul is feeling it, but you can't really comprehend what it is. Now, the last part of this very long video now, why do shamans get attacked? Because this person was basically saying, like, I thought you guys have guides. Why does this even happen? Like, I'm trying to see if you really want me to answer that. Okay. Now, the thing is, I've had people ask me about Michael the demon when he was attached to me as well. And they were wondering, if you have guides, why didn't they stop them? The thing is, shamans on their journey, when they start, is nothing compared to when they've progressed. Everything is about experience. Everything is about knowledge. Everything is about regaining everything. Because when you're born, anybody could just come and hit you. Like, you're not going to be able to stop it, right? But as you get older, as you experience things, as you become more aware of things, you know how to try and stop it, or at least attack back. It is the exact same theory. So even if you are going to be a shaman, even if you're going to be one of the greatest shamans out there, you will still get attacked. You may even fall at times, and that's perfectly normal because nobody is Superman. Okay, Superman's not real. Okay, so I'm just saying, nobody is perfect, you know, and so people will get attacked. And the thing is, those who actually get attacked become stronger. So if you're a shaman and nothing's ever happening to you, you end up not having the experience, not having the personal experience, the knowledge, the struggles to know how to handle it in the future. So the whole point of all of these attacks, and with a lot of shamans, especially if you're born being a shaman, you will be a lot like me where I had nightmares all of the time. And these nightmares are meant to test you. It's meant to test your strength. And during my live video, I had mentioned about people who run really slow. You could be driving a car and you lose complete control of it. You could be flying and then you lose control of that too. And sometimes you may have flown and then you're trying to fly again and it's just not working. All of that is meant to be a mental test so that spiritually you can become stronger. So whenever you guys end up having those kind of dreams and you can't control it, it's because mentally you're not strong enough yet. Spiritually, you're not strong enough yet. And then I was asked, like, how can you become stronger? You know, for shamans, you practice going into the spirit world. You practice it a lot, you know, and that's why shamans who, even though they're full-fledged shamans, they still have to go into the spirit world, okay? Like, we still set time aside and still have to go to the spirit world for ourselves. We still have to go and get our own spirit. We still have to go and do things for ourselves. It's not like, I'm fixed and whole, you know, like, the thing is, a shaman generally is protected, but they have to be attacked or they'll never learn. They'll never know. And plus, ghosts and demons, they're actually trying to cripple the shaman before they become really good. So there is that as well, you guys. So those are all the reasons on why shamans can be attacked. And it's like even those who are full-fledged, been doing it for 30 years, they will still constantly be attacked because if you're not being attacked and you're not being challenged, you'll never grow, you'll never change, and you'll never become better. So that is just part of the deal of being a shaman. That's it. That's part of the deal. You have to know how to handle all of these situations, and that's why it keeps happening to you. So that is it for this video, guys. Until next time.